Welcome back, everybody, to episode 14 of Calhoun Falls. I'm Joe, and this episode we are going to work on our suburbs over in the northern part. But first, I realized that our park coverage in this downtown beachfront area is very low, mainly because there's just no parks here. There's a lot of parks around the university area and in other locations near here, but there's none right here. And the reason I didn't put any parks here is because I wanted our beachfront to kind of be like that park. However, it doesn't actually give a benefit. So what I wanted to do is to build a chirper, this fun time complex, and this adventure park, and this little thing, perhaps, maybe a couple of those, and kind of make a little theme park area around this block-ish sort of region, so that we can kind of have a nice little theme park here near all these big parking buildings. So I am going to work on that for a little bit, and we'll be right back. Here is that completed chirper park. I put just a bunch of these assets together, and I put a little nice road around it. This one is a pedestrian road, and we also have a good amount of parking going on here. There's just one last thing I want to do to this area, and that is to only give it one crosswalk, because it doesn't need two right there. And actually I want that crosswalk to be in the other spot. It just doesn't need two, but either way. So this is the little new chirper park, and I think it looks pretty good. And the rest of our city is doing reasonably well. The parking lots here that I put in filled up pretty quickly. They're about 90 to 95% full, which is expected considering this is a downtown area and we had a deficit of parking anyway. So I now want to move on to the construction of these suburbs. The oil wells that we put down here last episode are doing decently well for themselves. If we look at the industrial profit, the company profitability, they are reasonably profitable, and a lot of these companies in this area are profitable. So that's good. Our average industrial profit is 60%, 70%, and our average office profit is a bit higher. So that's doing good. Most of these offices are profitable, and so maybe this law firm will close and maybe this bank will upsize. And so the upsizing and downsizing is definitely a mechanic in this game for how companies try to make themselves profitable. I'm not entirely sure how it works. For example, this one and this building are about the same size, but this one has 380 employees and this one has 514 employees, and by the same size I mean the same footprint. And this one has 380 employees, so that's about the same as the first one. But this company is perhaps more profitable that makes media than this company that makes financials, so it may have more employees, even though they're both green level of profitable. Our fuel plant here is only medium profitable, which is a little strange, but nonetheless. Anyway, enough about that random profitability. I think maybe all of them have different profitabilities, and I'm not totally sure all of the things that go into that. I think one of them is definitely imports, and so probably on the companies that we aren't producing enough stuff locally for, they're importing that, and either way. So I'm going to go ahead and, so my plan for this area is here I'm going to make a big strip mall area, a big suburbia strip mall around this train station here. And I'm also going to put in that little, I think just a small bus depot will be fine, and the buses will just kind of go up and down these large streets here. So that'll be fine. And there will probably be one that goes to this hub, and there's maybe going to be one that goes to this hub. Although I don't think I need the one that goes from this hub to that hub, because that's where the train goes already. Here to here might just be a little more direct, or from here directly to the industrial area hub. I think we will definitely want one that goes directly from this suburban hub directly to the industrial hub, because I think that's where a lot of these people are going to end up working right now, and I think that they can take the train to go to all the other places. It's just that that train is just a one-way line. It's not a loop or anything, so it'll just go straight up and down, and that will be the longest train ride to take this from our suburb area to our industrial area and all the way back. So I think we want a bus that goes all the way there. Anyway, that is to say, I am going to not build the strip mall for now, and I think the first area that I'm going to suburbanize is this area, these two areas right down here, just right near the highway, to see how it goes and what it looks like, and to make sure I like what I'm doing. So I'm going to do that, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We have gotten in this little bus station hub right in our little area here. I did see this design in someone else's land, and I think it's pretty nice. It's got the taxi stop, and it's got two little station services right over here. And so by this design, I just mean this particular layout of the small bus station, not, you know, this whole little hub area that I have over here. Either way, I think this looks pretty nice, and I like how it is, especially with this large city park and all this stuff. So I think this will be a good start or a hub for a commercial area, a good central point. However, I am a little bit divided on where exactly to put the commercial area, because part of my body is telling me to put it over on this side, just kind of to pull it out in this corner, and the other part of me is saying to maybe put like some over here, some like behind the train station over here connecting to this road, and then like maybe a little over on this side too, probably some over on this side too. So I think that we'll maybe wait for that for a little bit. I do think that some being over here would be nice, especially because we have made our... Why is this condemned? Okay. We've made our district over here called Ravenwood Dale, and I think that it is very organic looking, and it looks pretty good. The main thing we have in here is this big elementary school. It has 600 students going to it because our city demographics are 24% children out of 160,000 people. So that's there's 40,000 people eligible for elementary school, and we have capacity for about 30,000 roughly. And so they're pretty much all being put into elementary school. I was hoping that this elementary school would only serve the residents of this district, of which there are 700 or so, but more will move in as we let it grow naturally. So that's pretty good. And about this area right here, I built this without totally thinking about where this strip mall this mall area would end here. And I also zoned in a bunch of low density businesses. We got a good few hotels that were built here, but we don't need that many hotels. So I've kind of been demolishing those and letting them rebuild back up because we really don't need hotels in this area, and I don't really want them in this area. So if we look at our tourism, we can even say here's a hotel, and there's just like so many of them that were built here, and I don't want them in this area. I don't know why I put them here, because we used to have hotels somewhere else, and they're always zoned purple. However, I suppose all of the hotels that were in like high density buildings and whatnot, and there used to be some hotels over in this area, but I suppose they shut down and were then destroyed and rebuilt. So anyway, what I would like to do is I would like to make like a quote unquote hotel district kind of area that's like, near a highway exit, but kind of in, maybe in like this area would be good for like a hotel district. That's what I think. Something that's very near to this airport and which is very close to this highway and which doesn't really have very much built into it, and I don't really know what I would want to do with this. It's also right next to the police headquarters, so they might like that. So I think I want this to be a hotel district, I believe. Apparently there are a lot of tourists on this tram. Anyway, that's getting off of the point. So that's what I think I'm going to do. The next thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and build a bunch of low-density business hotels over by that area, and then I'm going to keep bulldozing the ones over here, and I'm going to bulldoze the ones over there that are not hotels until that area just becomes all hotels in this little corner here. So I'm going to do that, and after that, I think I'm going to build this area out and start on the foundations for this strip mall area. And I mentioned that we are actually having some people rent rooms in here, so I think it will be good to definitely to move those people and like look at all these hotels. Look at all these hotels that are built. This is extreme, and they don't need to be over here. Anyway, so I think that, yeah, I'm gonna try and move all the hotels. See you when that's done. Okay, I have now consolidated all the hotels into this one little district. So hotel, 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 hotel. There are a total of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hotels here. So they each have 36 rented rooms available at their level 1. So that's about 400 hotel rooms total in this area. But it has very good public transit with this bus stop and our tram stop here, as well as this hub right here that they can just take one tram stop right to. There's also an office here for, I mean, they sell financial, but let's presume that that would be an administrative office for like all these hotels, like a central administrative place. I think that would be kind of an interesting thing if just maybe one company bought all this out instead of the 3 or 4 that did this and then made this a huge, like, big complex. I tried to make it kind of look like that, but anyway. There's also some other random businesses down here, including gas stations, just because they were available, and I wanted to make the hotels only in those 6x6 plots. I believe you can zone them in other sizes. However, it seemed when I was constructing this area, it seemed the most common lot size for them to take was those 6x6 plots. And it didn't seem to take the 6x4 or the 3x6 like this one is. They only wanted the 6x6 plots. And so that's why they're only in those. So yeah, I've consolidated all the hotels into this area, and there's none anywhere else. And that's good because these hotels are connected very easily to this area by the Space Center, which is highly attractive for tourists and just for random city attractiveness, even though this is a city-wide boost, which it's really great that we have this near a forest and a beach, because that's giving us an extra 100 attractiveness on top of that. And we've also unlocked the Square Center, which is actually our first high density building, and I haven't, that's for 60 level 5 high density buildings. So that's really cool. I haven't actually unlocked these before. So putting it down, that does look like a square center, and that is a center for fashion. I think we're actually going to save this one. Now, typically for these ones that give us city-wide bonuses, I've been plopping them down just, loosely immediately, like all of these. However, I haven't been placing down these, which only give you a well-being boost within some distance. So I think for this one, I might actually save it for our bigger downtown area over here. So I'm actually going to save this one, even though it gives us minus on import costs, which is good. This area is also going to be, I think, maybe medium density-ish, maybe some office buildings if our demand can recover from that. Because this area over here is having troubles with not enough customers. Even though there are a lot of customers in this area, there aren't really many along this street. So I guess I can't remember why I zoned these. I think I just zoned these in along this way just because it was near the highway and I wanted to get this area done with. That's probably what happened. Okay. So I did that. And the next thing that I'm going to do, I believe, is build out the framework for that shopping center. So I'm going to do that, and I'll see you then. All right. I think that this is pretty much going to be the backbone for our big business district. I think that something like this is going to be pretty good. What I could have done, or is going to give me a result that I think that I like. A lot of these 4x6s, I think. I wanted this to look very strip mall-y, and although there are more spaces between these buildings than you would typically see, the way they have these awnings and the semi-continuous path that goes between the parking lot and all of these, without that parking lot being too large, like for example this one is, which I believe is a 6x6 building. That's the kind of look I was going for in this area, because we already have a really large parking lot over here. That consolidates a lot of the parking for this whole area. And we are getting a little bit of demand back because we have some more labor availability starting to pop up. We have some more people who are enrolled in our college now. Our high schools are pretty much at capacity, so I will need to build another high school over in this area. I am a little torn on where exactly to put it. I think a good place for the high school might be like back here, but I think maybe just for a small high school, it could go back here in this area, or right over here, along this road. I think that either right here, or somewhere back in here. Originally, I was going to put maybe some offices back here, actually, so I think I'm going to stick with that. Then I'm going to put the high school right along here. And I'm just going to make this a small high school for now. Or I could use a bigger high school. I don't know. We're going to figure out the high school later, I think. But I believe I want it to go right here, so that has some okay public transport access, as well as some centrality to this region. I think we're going to have one high school down here, which will service all of the residents of the southern bit, and then another high school, up here, which will service all the residents of this northern bit. And hopefully we'll have enough residents to make that work reasonably well. So let's actually just, this has 800 student capacity, this has 400. So I think let's go ahead and put this down along this street. And then let's go ahead and put the other high school down along this street right here. So that's pretty good. And I think with these high schools, we are also going to add some sports fields to these. And I think that putting them just behind the high schools will work pretty well. I think I want them to be like you know, over here somewhere, because another thing that we need for our city is more cemeteries. So I believe that I want the cemeteries to be kind of like along this road in going in this direction. It's not letting me. Yeah, but going along the road in, you know, circa that direction. So the long edge of the cemetery is along the road. So I believe I'll be able to do that right here pretty easily by just pulling out this road. And because of that, I think I'm going to work on this section of this area near this train hub here. And because of that, I might put some offices along here and just extend out this road to kind of, you know, loop up and connect onto this road. Actually, I don't know if I want... I haven't added a road connecting this to this except for this one because I want a lot of people to flow through this junction right here, which it's low density, so it shouldn't be that terrible. And we have a very large parking lot right here to accommodate parking for this area, and this is a 3-lane either way street, so it's a 6-lane road, so this should be able to handle most of the traffic going from this area to this area. So I think I'm just going to have some suburbs be pulled off, some cul-de-sacs be pulled off from this and have it stop there, and then have some other cul-de-sacs pulled off from this and have them stop there. But I think I'm not quite going to go past this line yet today, this imaginary line here, although I may actually connect up Aspen Street here over to Amberwood Street here. I think that would be a good thing to do, because that I think would be a route that a lot of people would like to take. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to build houses in this section here. See you then. Welcome back after the cut. I have gone ahead and put in the roads for this area. They look pretty organic and nice. And I am going to now zone in all of these single-family houses by clicking them one by one. But before that, I am going to put in a district right along here. And I will just like that. And right along the street. So, whoops. So that's going to be called Blackbird Creek. And we are also going to change that up to be like that. And then just for paternity's sake, we will plop on down this Sterling Springs. I'm going to say Sterling Springs Mall. And they're going to have a roadside parking fee of nothing. I'm going to turn it off. Haha, oops. So Blackbird Creek is also going to be a gated community. So for Ravenwood, this district, I put on speed bumps, no heavy traffic, and gated community. So I am going to put on those same ones here. And I also went ahead and gave our high school a sports field. And that looks pretty nice in this region. But we do need an elementary school here. So I'm going to go ahead and plop one down right over here, because that's a nice spot for it, I believe. And we may end up needing another elementary school in this region, given that we have, for here, we have 1,300 people, and this elementary school has capacity for 600. That sounds loosely correct, so I might end up putting on a couple of extension wings on this one. They're just very full right now because we have an overabundance of people. And before I zone these things in, I want to actually, well, as I zone these things in, I want to do a funny editing trick where you see me clicking them all in fast motion. So I'm going to record this section, and then I'm going to try and speed it up in post. Or I'll just cut it out. So, see you when that's done. Okay, so I think we did a little bit of extra work in other parts of our city instead of just here, but we are done with this area, and I did have to fix those other things. In other news, our mail rate is a little over our processing, so I might actually have to build another mail station, and I think I will build a big post office right about over here. I think that will be good for this area here, right next to that mall. And plus, because this is a one-way road, it should allow us good traffic flowing here. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right like that. And I think I actually want to make that an office building, not a commercial building. So this post office should be able to serve this area well, and it should also be able to process a lot of mail from around the city. So hopefully now our mail processing availability will be over our mail rate. I don't exactly know how that is calculated, because if we look at our other post offices around the city, namely this one, it doesn't have very much stored mail. But if we look at our mail sorting facility, it has a ton of stored mail, and it is sorting 83,000 mail per month. So I read the dev diary on this, and I actually didn't know this was a bug before I read it. And the dev diary was interesting for many reasons, but there's a bug with this where sometimes this will just go down to like 0 for sorting mail, and it's because it'll export the mail out of the city and then import it back in once it's sorted. So this, like if you have a port, which we do, and so I think that was why it had really low sorting speed initially, but now its sorting speed is very high, and I think I may actually have to build another one of these here around in our city so that we can sort through more of our mail. So I think I actually am going to do that, and I'm going to build it back behind this place. So I'm going to build that right over here. And I am going to give it... It's this invalid shape again. Just why? Either way, hopefully this new post-sorting facility will allow us to sort more mail. I don't know why this won't, but whatever. This does also go with our aesthetic over here, and I tell you what, I've kind of been beating around the bush on building another train yard there, and now I actually can't do it anymore because the mail sorting facility is in the way. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. These guys will have to do without their hearse garages, or they will have to be built in there some other way. This thing will have to be moved 2 spaces over, and then I can actually build this thing, and then I'll build another rail yard. And I forgot about this. Yeah, I forgot about that. I was hoping that for these it would just be able to dispatch trains right on over there, but maybe that's not the case. So we're going to move this post-sorting facility. Over to here. We're going to move that over to here. Okay, so that's pretty much how I wanted this area to look. And I'll zone in some office buildings over in this region. Okay, just to pop back in here. I think I'm pretty much done dealing with the whole not having enough elementary schools thing. I know that it's because there are, 25% children, and I've just built the city up very fast, and that's why. Because to have way more children than teens, I guess it's a bigger total range of age, possibly, but it's just extreme. And I think that the time to graduation of this thing is 6 months. So I don't really know. And so this time to graduation is 6 months, and that to 11 months. So you can be a child, I suppose, for 6 months, and then I guess you can be a teen for 11 months. Possibly. I don't know. But anyway, the thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this area of land that we have downtown here that we're not doing much with, and I am literally just going to build 10 elementary schools right back to back with each other. Additionally, in the time lapse, I put in this server farm here to try to deal with some of our internet. Our internet connection in this area is medium. I'd like it to be a bit better, but I don't really want to have to build 10 server farms to actually make it be green. But now it's a much brighter, it's a brighter shade of yellow. So it's not orange. So I think that judging by the color map, it's decent to have. The downtown internet is reasonable, of reasonable quality. So that's pretty good. And because a lot of people are living in this district, 71,000, I'm just going to plop down a ton of elementary schools. So, yeah, and then we will end off the episode. So, I guess to end off that episode, this has been episode 14, I believe, of Calhoun Falls. And thank you for watching, and I hope that you all have a good day. See you next time.